Welcome to Teaching Orchestra. In this episode, I'm going over how I teach Winter Solstice by Todd Parrish. Winter Solstice, as we all know, is a fresh, new work. So fresh, so new, so fresh and new. Copyright 2010, so fresh and new. Well, those program notes sure didn't age well. That's because we all know that it's now, well, that didn't age well, because we all know that it's now
current year.
And when we think of how long it's been since this fresh and new work came out, gosh, it's been
current year minus 2010
years ago. And the current president of the United States is now
current president.
And back then, in 2010, it was
Barack Hussein Obama II.
So yeah, it's been a while. Maybe not so new or so fresh or so new and fresh. Fresh, fresh, fresh. I've actually been afraid to make this episode, to be honest, because Winter Solstice has become standard lit for an intermediate public school orchestra, and it's really hard. It's rated a grade 2.5, and I think that's absolutely
Quackers.
Let's compare it to another grade 2.5, and I actually did one this season, back in episode 1. I did The Black Knight, and let's see here. Where are all the running eighth notes in a la breve? Where's the fifth position? Where's the left-hand pizzicato? Yes, left-hand pizzicato, because obviously for solo and ensemble this year, they're going to be doing a Sarasate Caprice. Yeah, it's closer to a grade 4 than it is a grade 2, so should you program it? Elliot Del Borgo once said that if you read through a piece of music from beginning to end and it falls apart more than 3 times, your orchestra isn't ready for it. Although that statement is not absolute, how many groups can read Winter Solstice down without restarting more than 3 times to regroup? And would you pick this over something else? I think that it's a cool sounding piece, and I think it's a good intermediary to more advanced rep. But my video series is not going to be going over fundamental techniques, because if your orchestra doesn't know stuff like string crossings, brush strokes, if they haven't learned how to hammer their fingers down, this is not the piece to teach them. If you want a piece like that, program Black Knight. If your orchestra is pretty comfortable with basic technique, Winter Solstice is a good stepping stone to get them to higher level lit. I made this teaching companion, which is available on teachingorchestra.com, and my goal is to make this piece more accessible to more groups that couldn't do it otherwise. But unlike my other teaching companions, it doesn't address rote technique except finger patterns. I still believe that tone and pitch are super important no matter what level your group is playing at. The rest of this teaching companion, however, is just a lot of left-hand exercises. I think that a lot of the writing in Winter Solstice is idiomatic, or maybe a better way of saying it is that it relates to the works like Vivaldi, Corelli, or the late 17th century Baroque music. And this music might teach your orchestra students how to deconstruct an advanced piece of music and break it down in a way that they can woodshed productively and make individual progress, practicing on their own. And Winter Solstice will take some individual effort. And that's why I think it's often used as a middle school region piece, and there will be no shortage of excerpts here for the audition because students are preparing individually, and they can practice their little sections, and they can get tested on it to see who makes the group and who doesn't make the group. Although please be kind to your clinician when you're programming this. Don't just put this on the program and pass it out in the fall and give the score to your clinician and say, good luck, you've got 6 hours to put this together, and 2 other pieces. And unless you have kids in your region and enough kids in your region that are going to put in the time and show up pretty much knowing at least the left hand at tempo, or it's going to be a rough concert and the clinician is really going to have to earn her paycheck. If your students have mastered shifting, basic off-the-string bow style, rhythm, including syncopation, pitch, and have an instinct for balance, this is a good piece to get them ready for grade 4 and grade 5 lit. But if your students don't know what a hook bow is yet, I would grab a different piece that has a little less left-hand work and use that to build up their technique, and maybe do this on a spring concert when they're ready. Okay, I'm not trying to scare you away from programming Winter Solstice for your group. Maybe just not right now. Maybe wait a little bit. Teach your students a lot of bow technique first, because this piece is not the best to teach bow technique because it's so left-hand focused. In my next video, I'm going to go over how to teach the left hand the most efficient and effective way that I know how, so that your students can learn it in time for their performance and so that they can pick up some skills and become more independent musicians. That's right, so that you don't have to spoon feed them everything and they can become responsible for learning their own parts. So I hope to see you then.